Ever wondered why you were born in the exact year you were? Have you ever felt, even for a brief moment, that the numbers marking your existence carry secrets, puzzles, and signs that go beyond any rational explanation? Maybe it's just a coincidence, or maybe not. But what if I told you that something extremely simple, like the last digit of your birth year, has the power to reveal hidden patterns, karmic lessons, and even answers to deep questions about your journey? Subscribe to the channel and give us a like to access more stories like this. Life, after all, is a succession of questions. From a young age, we learn to seek explanations. Why am I here? What's my purpose? Is there a deeper meaning behind things? These questions are universal, crossing cultures, religions, borders, and eras. The fascination with mystery is what drives us, makes us dream, seek meaning, and create stories. Imagine looking into a metaphorical mirror now. Instead of your physical reflection, you observe the numbers that have accompanied you since your first breath, numbers that silently appear in documents, records, and commemorative dates. Have you ever wondered what they mean, if they mean anything at all? Even if you're naturally skeptical, feel invited to stay with me on this journey. Together, we'll question the linear structures of chance and open doors to new possibilities for interpretation. Now, before your curiosity fades, I want to propose a challenge. If this topic has sparked something inside you, like this video right now, write your birth year in the comments and subscribe so we can dive even deeper into the next chapters together. Your engagement is the starting point for us to expand this conversation. Hold tight, because this isn't just another video about simplified numerology. This is an invitation for you to become the protagonist of your own symbolic existence. Let's focus on something that, at first glance, seems insignificant: the last digit of your birth year. Yes, just that one number. It's not the entire year, it's not your parents' names, it's not your hometown. It's the final digit, an almost invisible detail, easily overlooked amidst so much personal data and numerical information. If someone asked you, offhand, what the last digit of your birth year is, you'd probably answer without thinking. However, today, I ask you to look at it with fresh eyes. The minimalism of detail is fascinating because, as Jung said, small things are symbols of great mysteries. How many times do we overlook what, precisely because of its simplicity, can carry profound meaning? By looking at the detail, we open space for the unexpected. The last digit of your birth year is thus elevated to the status of a symbol, an archetype that subtly can carry stories and lessons that echo silently throughout the years. The power lies in small details, and often it's through the minimum that the maximum is revealed. Think about how a simple whisper can change the course of a conversation, or how a brief memory can determine your reaction in decisive moments. The symbolic detail, when observed carefully, transforms into a portal for understanding hidden patterns. Now pause for a moment. Look at that last number. What does it remind you of? What does it stir? Is it possible that this seemingly random digit holds echoes of your own life path, fueling both doubts and insights? Some say there are no coincidences, only synchronicities. And perhaps, in this small number, lies the silent call of a synchronicity ready to be unveiled. Have you noticed how certain numbers seem to repeat at the most unexpected moments in your life? Maybe you see the same digit on the digital clock when you wake up in the middle of the night. Maybe it appears on license plates, document passwords, important dates, or even phone numbers. It might seem like just another silly coincidence, but in reality, these patterns form a kind of invisible trail. A subliminal recognition of an element that has accompanied you since the beginning of your existential journey. Stop and reflect. In how many daily situations does your last digit appear? Almost like a silent specter, it manifests in various contexts, always ready to recall or provoke a sense of déjà vu. Behavioral psychology suggests that the more we are exposed to the same stimulus, the more prone we are to attribute meaning to it, even unconsciously. After all, the brain loves patterns. It seeks them, recognizes them, and tries to extract some hidden meaning from them. Some say the universe communicates with us through subtle signs and repetitions. How about expanding that view to your own daily life? Observe, throughout this week, notice if the last digit of your birth year doesn't jump out at you in some unexpected situation. Remember, Nothing is so ordinary that it cannot suddenly become extraordinary. Subliminal recognition is an invitation to observation. If until now you never cared about this detail, I propose a small change in perspective. Write down every time you come across this digit, reflect on the context, the emotions of the moment, or even on the existential questions lingering in the air. You might, in the end, be surprised by the answers that emerge from the seemingly mundane. Moving one step further, we now enter the territory of unconscious patterns, those elements that, according to Jung, inhabit the depths of our psyche and silently shape our choices, emotions, and experiences. The last digit of your birth year, in this context, takes on the role of an archetypal symbol, a reflection of universal rhythms that repeat beyond conscious will. But what exactly are these karmic patterns so often spoken of in spiritual traditions? According to Jungian thought, the collective unconscious stores memories, archetypes, and universal structures, which manifest across different eras and cultures. It's as if we are all, in some way, connected to an invisible tapestry of ancestral symbols and stories. Karma, in turn, can be seen not just as punishment or reward, but as the repetition of a psychic script, lessons that return, dynamics that represent themselves, opportunities to grow and evolve. Imagine, for example, a person born in 1984. The digit 4, laden with symbolism, not only repeats in the year but can echo in characteristics of the personality itself, perhaps a constant search for order, stability, solid structures, perhaps even a propensity to experience challenges that demand responsibility and discipline. Now expand that example. What if everyone who carries the same digit is linked by the same archetypal energy, a kind of collective mission, even if experienced through very singular paths? Of course, this isn't deterministic, rigid, or mechanical. The beauty of this approach lies precisely in the freedom to interpret, experiment, and question. The final digit here doesn't serve as a sentence, but as an invitation to self-knowledge. When we observe this detail with sensitivity, we begin to perceive repetitive patterns in choices, relationships, challenges, and opportunities. Ask yourself, is there a theme that repeats in your life? A lesson that insists on reappearing, even under new masks? Depth psychology teaches us to see the invisible, to name the shadows, and to embrace what once went unnoticed. Does your digit carry or reflect some aspect of your own unconscious? Why, every try to escape certain themes, do they seem to return? And if the answer doesn't come immediately, allow yourself to remain curious. Self-questioning is the flame that illuminates the hidden folds of the psyche. Soon, we'll continue together on even more intriguing paths, where the authority of thinkers like Jung will be our compass to explore the hidden meaning of numbers and the symbols in your life. For now, I invite you to jot down your impressions, your coincidences, your accidents that might not be so accidental after all. Our journey is just beginning. By now, you might have started to realize that the last digit of your birth year is more than just a number. However, do you know what makes this perception even more powerful? The authority of great thinkers who have delved deeply into the mysteries of the unconscious, the human soul, and symbolism. Carl Gustav Jung, the father of analytical psychology, was one of the first to bring to Western understanding the idea that archetypal patterns reside within us and manifest through universal symbols, present in dreams, myths, and even numbers. For Jung, these symbols were not just abstract concepts, but living forces that influenced our existence, shaping behaviors, fears, aspirations, and even the events we attract into our lives. When we speak of the last digit of your birth year as an archetype, we are directly engaging with this legacy. It is a symbol that, although minimal in form, holds an energetic charge that can be connected to these deep forces. Therefore, we are not here to suggest a simple pocket numerology, but rather to approach a psychically significant structure, a bridge between the science of the psyche and the field of symbolic spirituality. Other scholars, like Joseph Campbell, who explored the power of myths, reinforce the importance of stories and symbols that cross cultures and times. Thus, the analysis of your number becomes a small piece of the symbolic universe we all share. Furthermore, contemporary studies in behavioral psychology confirm the strong influence of unconscious patterns and how our minds seek meaning and connection, often using numbers and symbols as tools for self-discovery and transformation. Imagine yourself now not only receiving information, but participating in a process that unites depth psychology, ancestral knowledge, and spiritual practices in a synthesis capable of illuminating your path. This construction of authority underpins what we will discuss from now on and invites you to open yourself to a greater understanding of who you are beyond what your eyes see outwardly. For this concept to truly come alive, I want to tell you the story of Clara, a woman born in 1991. The last digit 1 marked her journey in ways she didn't always understand at first glance. Clara always felt a deep restlessness, a calling to lead, to innovate, and at the same time, a latent loneliness in her quest to be first in everything. In her adolescence, she struggled with the insecurity of being unique, the one who had to pave the way, often alone. The number 1, with its archetypal symbolism of leadership and independence, echoed in her decisions and challenges. It wasn't until her 30s, when she began to explore Jungian concepts, that Clara realized that this simple digit reflected something larger, a karmic lesson about courage, self-affirmation, and the price of pioneering. And then visualize what happens when Clara, after years of trial and error, decides to embrace her number, to understand it not as a burden, but as a map for her inner transformation. She learns to balance the strength of the number 1 with the vital need for human connection, becoming a more empathetic and authentic leader, far from the loneliness that consumed her. Stories like Clara's remind us that numbers don't define us, but they reveal emotional and psychological patterns that, if viewed with compassion, can open unexpected doors to self-knowledge and healing. Each number carries a potential narrative, a story waiting to be lived. Now imagine a man named Lucas, born in 1987. The digit 7 is known for its connection to spiritual seeking, mysticism, and deep introspection. Lucas spent much of his life trying to escape this characteristic, seeking material success and external recognition, as if the universe were sending him a silent challenge to turn his gaze inward. When he finally embraced the 7 and all that it symbolized, retreat, meditation, the search for true meaning, his life transformed. Instead of the constant struggle for recognition, Lucas found peace in an inner journey that resonated with his number, a process of reconnection with his essence that impacted all areas of his life. These examples illustrate the power of archetypes linked to digits and show how this knowledge transcends mere chance. We are faced with the possibility of viewing our existence as a symbolic narrative, where every detail, even the seemingly simplest, can be the key to unlocking an essential chapter of our personal story. As you're seeing, this topic is vast and deep, and it wouldn't be possible to cover it all at once. Therefore, we propose a chapter-based approach, where we will explore each number from 0 to 9 in detail, unveiling the lessons, archetypal patterns, and specific psychological dynamics that each one carries. In the next chapter, for example, we'll talk about the number 0, a mysterious digit, a symbol of emptiness and infinite potential, which can represent a beginning beyond time and limitations. You'll discover how this number, though often overlooked, exerts a powerful influence on the people who carry it in their birth year. Then will come the number 1, which we've already briefly touched upon here, but which deserves a deeper and more personalized approach. Afterward, we'll explore 2, 3, and so on, each digit revealing not just a numerical meaning, but an archetype that reflects your existential and psychological peculiarities. This serialized structure has a dual purpose. First, to pique your curiosity so that you keep coming back, motivated to discover more about yourself and your journey. Second, to offer a didactic and respectful progression, building a clear and cohesive path of self-knowledge. Therefore, I recommend that you keep a personal record of your reflections during this journey. Write down what caught your attention the most and be open to what's yet to come. When we decided to organize our content this way, our goal was to create a safe and welcoming environment for every viewer to dive into the complexity of the topic without feeling lost or overwhelmed. So, get ready to embark on a series that not only informs, but transforms. With each video, each chapter, you'll be a little closer to unraveling the mysteries surrounding your last digit and, who knows, transforming your view on purpose, destiny, and personal growth. These upcoming chapters are not just a promise. They are invitations for you to be the protagonist of your own symbolic narrative. Want to continue this journey of self-discovery? Don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to follow each new episode. Your engagement is the fuel for this journey. With this promise, we move on to other incredible discoveries, always with a keen eye on the richness hidden in the small detail that is the last digit of your birth year. So far, we've explored numbers as deep symbols, connections to Jungian patterns, and emotional stories of lives touched by these archetypes. But how does this theory come alive within you, the viewer? This is where behavioral psychology becomes essential, especially through the use of mirrors and recognition to stimulate self-knowledge. Have you ever noticed how, when looking at another person, you often see aspects of yourself reflected in their attitudes, words, or even their way of being? Jung called this the shadow, hidden parts of our unconscious that we project onto others. Now imagine this idea applied to your own number, as if it were a subtle mirror reflecting hidden internal patterns, unexpressed emotions, and unconscious behaviors. Being invited to recognize your last digit as a reflection of your psyche is a powerful way to increase self-awareness. This practice encourages you to answer internal questions, even if they are latent. Have I learned the lessons my number carries? What repetitive habits in my life might be linked to this hidden symbolism? At what moments do I ignore the deep voice that this digit evokes? This self-observation acts as an internal map, continuous feedback, where you gradually perceive patterns that previously went unnoticed. When you can connect emotions, thoughts, and behaviors to this symbolic structure, a transformative movement begins. The recognition of what needs to be worked on, healed, or moved forward. You can start this exercise right now without even leaving the video. Take a deep breath and think about your last digit. Visualize the experiences in your life that somehow seem to match what we've discussed so far. Notice if any emotion or memory resurfaces powerfully. This is not coincidence. It's your unconscious communicating. Behavioral psychology also shows the importance of positive reinforcement. Every time you identify a behavior aligned with the essence of your number, no matter how small, celebrate that progress. Small victories in recognizing and integrating these patterns bring powerful and lasting results. If you're willing, write these observations in a journal. Over time, the simple act of recognizing these connections creates a virtuous cycle of self-knowledge, empowerment, and emotional expansion, an essential step for you to become the protagonist of your own destiny and not a victim of invisible karmic repetitions. Now, you might be thinking, does this mean I'll be forever defined by a single digit, that my life is predestined to repeat patterns I can't change? The answer is an emphatic no. If there's one fundamental thing to understand throughout this journey, it's that you are not ever just a number. This idea serves as a tool, a vehicle for self-discovery, never as a label or a prison. Demystifying the association between the number and your destiny is liberating. Each number brings a set of archetypes and patterns, yes, but this doesn't determine your future rigidly and immutably. You have an infinite capacity to choose, to modify, to learn, and to grow. What we propose is an inclusive perspective, to view your last digit as part of your larger map without ever forgetting the complexity of human nature, individuality, and the context that shape your story. It is precisely this complexity that makes the experience of self-knowledge a unique adventure. Remember also that karmic and psychological repetitions are opportunities, not prisons. They are invitations for you to become more conscious, align your choices with your deepest purpose, and create a more authentic and integrated personal narrative. It doesn't matter if your number indicates challenges, lessons, or gifts. Your story is unique, your internal resources are numerous, and your capacity for transformation is limitless. This perspective fosters a deep connection with self-love, compassion, and respect for the journey, including the shadows that emerge along the way. It is an invitation to embrace the most delicate aspects, and at the same time recognize the strength that exists within each one. In short, the last digit is a valuable instrument for looking inward, understanding yourself, and ultimately embracing your uniqueness. But it is never a label that limits your infinite potential. Now I invite you to take a deep pause. Breathe with intention and think about your journey so far, the paths you've walked, the choices you've made, the lessons that still reverberate in your life. Look at the last digit of your birth year, not just as a number, but as a symbol that is trying to tell you something, that echoes an ancient and powerful message. What does this digit have to reveal to you? What patterns do you perceive that you might have avoided? What forces does this number awaken in you? Allow yourself to feel, unhurriedly, the answers that emerge from the silence of your soul. And if you felt something, even something small, I propose you don't let this seed fall on dry ground. Share in the comments what your number is and what you've noticed about it so far. What question has this number brought into your life? What reflection has it provoked? This exchange isn't just so we can chat here, but so you can strengthen your self-knowledge process with the energy of the community. Often, just the act of verbalizing discoveries already brings about profound changes. If you like this video and want to continue this journey with me, click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any episode of this series that will unravel, chapter by chapter, the mystery of each last digit. And finally, like this video if it touched your heart in some way. Every like is a sign that we are together on this path, exploring the mysteries of the unconscious and the mysteries of your own being. Remember, your last digit is an invitation, a call to look inward, understand your story, and above all, to grow. The journey of self-knowledge has no end, but every conscious step taken transforms the path into something lighter and more illuminated. Subscribe to the channel and give us a like to access more stories like this. Thank you for being here, for allowing yourself this experience, and for opening space for the mystery and magic within you. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll begin to unveil the number 0, the beginning of everything. Until then, take care, observe yourself, and allow yourself to flourish.